Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to your Friday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets. I apologize for the delay. Drew, I was wrestling with my AirPods in the green room, and it's funny. So, StreamYard is coming through my computer, but any notification that goes to my phone and computer is coming through my AirPods. So, when we went live, I got the little pink in my ear in my AirPods from my computer. But once again, your boy's having trouble with StreamYard. So, Uncle Buck, Drew, how's your Friday going?
That's great. I'm having a great day. My AirPods synced up perfectly to my Windows laptop provided to me and bought and paid for by my employer. And my AirPods made by Apple are working just fine. Yeah. No issues at all, except for the fact that I made a mad dash to the daycare about 20 minutes ago to go pick up my son because he was sick. And so thankfully he was also tired and went down to sleep really quickly. So I'm here with a baby monitor right there.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here showing on StreamYard that my audio is connected to my AirPods, but you're coming through my computer. If there is any bleed over, y'all got any audio issues, let me know. I'll see what I can do to fix it. But otherwise, we're going to roll with it, Drew. It is Friday. It's the final day of the week on a much-needed weekend coming up. That's for sure, sir. But, we start every Friday with our Bucks Big Three.
That's right. Big Three provided to you by the Two Bucks here on Bluff City Media. That's where Rusty picks a category, any category, open-ended. It can be anything. It's mostly not sports, but today it is sports, and it is going to be fun. But that's where, and we just both pick our favorite three out of the category. We put them on Instagram and Twitter, let you guys vote on who had the best Big Three. And this was exciting. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I do too. You're going to go first today because I don't remember who went first last time, but I'm going to concede the floor, let you go first. And so this one is for all the hoops heads and all the Waynos of the world, the Drews, the Rusties, the Jareds, the Edwards, who just love talking hoops in August when there's nothing else to talk about with hoops. So, Drew, we're going to pick our favorite, our Big Three retro throwback NBA logos. I found this on Twitter probably about a month or so ago now, and just been pocketing this one until we had a day where we needed to have some fun with the Bucks Big Three. And so that's what we've got today. So you want to do it snake style, I guess. We'll do a snake style like we typically do. We're picking our three favorite retro NBA logos.
However you want to do it, I don't care. With two people, I would just go back and forth, but we can snake draft if you want to.
Back and forth is fine with me. So you're up first, my guy.
Okay. I know the comments are going to pop off on this one. I've already seen one, and it's reminded me, try not to look at the comments. This is mine. I don't want to be influenced by anybody, although it's hard not to pick the home team. I mean, if we're just being honest, I love the bear. I love the teal. And I'm just kind of combing through it because this is the first time I've looked at this as well. Just going to try to comb through it real quick to see if there's anything that's obvious that I love better. If not, probably my fandom is going to win out. And I think my fandom is going to win out. Although there's so many of these logos and emblems here that are so much better than the ones that are used present day. Gosh. So much. The NBA could just go back to the 90s and be so much cooler. But I will take the Memphis Grizzlies. And I think it has more to do with the color than anything else. I love the teal.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard one to narrow down to just three because, I mean, there's so many good logos on your screen. I'm like, wait, no, just Jared, bring them all back. All of these should be their full-time logos. It's not even close. For me, the first one is obviously the Memphis Grizzlies. That's a biased opinion, but that one's also pretty dope. To me, the next best one, there's two. I'm going to go on a limb and take one. I love the Toronto Raptors dribbling raptor. That's a dope logo. The colors are really cool. I love, again, a dribbling raptor. It combines two of my favorite things, dinosaurs and basketball. I can't ask for a lot more than that. Give me the Raptors as my first pick.
I thought you were going to say Desmond Bain, but I love the Raptors would have been my next one. And as part of my beef with everybody, I think it was last year that Toronto had the old Vince Carter throwbacks with the purple on front, black on back, black. And I hated them. I don't like them. And it's not that I don't like them, but it's like this logo is so cool that if you
Mhm.
ever do a throwback, it should be incorporated in.
Absolutely.
Like I love the Raptors logo.
Yeah.
And in the same vein of this for me is the reason why I love the Pistons. I'm
That's
going to go
solid.
with the Pistons. I love the horse head on fire. I love the graphic that feels like he's speeding away. You know,
Mhm.
the word looks like it's cartoonish in a way that's a vehicle or a horse that is just speeding away.
Yeah.
And the color. Again, it's a color thing with me. I love the Pistons.
Yeah, the Pistons solid choice. That was going to be one of mine, but it's not my second choice. My second choice, I'm glad it made it back to me because I was kind of unsure if it would or not. But my second choice is the reason that I associate it with Kevin Garnett and those good T-Wolves teams that he was on, because the black that they're bringing back this year with the green and blue collars. Drew, I'm going T-Wolves. Just because, that's a menacing looking wolf peeking through the trees. Like, there's so many things to like about the Timberwolves logo. I'm going T-Wolves for my second pick.
That's not a bad one. It was not going to be on my list, so I'm not mad that you took that one. But my problem is I'm now stuck between two. I love two of these a whole lot. Man, I've got a lot of teal, I guess. And so as much as I love the Hornet, I'm going to go a different way. And I'm going to go with a logo that's one of my favorite throwback jerseys. And it's the Houston Rockets. I love
the Rockets is
navy
solid.
with the white pinstripe. I love the rocket ship. Gives me a little red now in my portfolio. So yeah, my three are the Grizzlies, the Pistons, and the Rockets. And I feel pretty good about my list.
Yeah, same. I'm going to get the three that I went into this wanting, and I'm not upset about it. Obviously, knowing you were going to be first overall, I kind of discounted the fact that I was going to get the Grizzlies. I didn't think I would, so I'm happy with what I'm going to get. So I've got two animals. I've got a raptor and a timberwolf, which I love.
One of them's make believe.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, dinosaurs aren't real.
Right. And there's two other ones. Like I love the hawk. I love the hornet. I think they're great. I love those. But I'm going to go to a team that is, and I'm torn. There's two here. Like, I love the 76ers because, like, it makes me think of AI. It makes me think of stepping over Ty Lue and the original Attitude Era. Ja Morant, like pre-Ja Morant, you had AI. But I'm going to go a different way because growing up, my favorite player was Shawn Kemp, and watching him tear the rims off in Seattle. They're no longer a team anymore, but the glove and Sean Kemp, and just that's such a cool, like the gold and green combo kind of works. It's very retro looking, looks like the 80s and 90s. So I'm going with the Seattle Supersonics for my final pick.
Yeah, I like I like it when they incorporate like a city of a monument or building or something within their graphic, and you got the Space Needle in that. Really good color of blue. Of green too. So my honorable mentions were the Magic. Really like that Magic old school logo. Same. I liked the Hornets. I didn't end up picking them because there are no New Orleans Hornets anymore. They ruined it and went with a Pelican. But for our sake, I feel like we have to mention the Bucks as well. Yeah. Just anytime you can put Bucks across the jersey, that just feels like us for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. For me, a couple others, again, my honorable mention being the 76ers, just because of who it represents. I do love that old Magic logo for the same reasons, the Shaq and Penny teams. And I love the old school Nets logo much better than this new Brooklyn Nets. I don't know. I like that one. And again, it's nostalgic, probably part of it. I also don't hate the Golden State Warrior. That's a pretty cool one too.
It's definitely, the Nets is definitely better than what they use now. For sure. When I think of that Nets logo, they were probably the first team I ever cheered for. Like, I like Jason Kidd and that Richard Jefferson team that got beat in the NBA Finals by the Lakers. Swept, I think. But which one of these do you hate? Well, let's just real quick. Give me your least favorite one on here.
If I have to remove team bias, Probably the Bobcats. I just don't like that one's not great. For me, the one I don't like the Clippers either. And it's partly because I hate the Clippers. I'm just like both of those just kind of blah. The blue and orange for the Bobcats doesn't work a ton for me. I don't care for the Bobcats logo.
Okay. Well, I don't really care for the Kings. I've never really understood what the little spiky stuff on top of it was. They still use that one today. But the worst one, and it's because they're historic and they don't want to change. And it was this way when they were in Minneapolis, and so now it's in the Lakers logo sucks. A yellow basketball, really?
Yeah, it does suck. Agreed. The same with the Clippers. They got a white basketball. Like NBA Paint needs to take over those and do a better job of those. But I'm going to post these on our socials. It might be a little bit because they got a busy afternoon, but I will get those posted either today or tomorrow. We want to know. I'm going to post a picture. Appreciate y'all in the comments for letting us know what your favorites were already, and let us know after the fact in the YouTube comments. Let us know on social media. Wayno with the high-level short joke here. This is incredible.
It wouldn't matter if I was 6'10". I would still have the highest ratio to human to looks ratio.
Yeah, something like that. But before we dive into our sports talk today, because we do have a lot of football happenings today, I do want to talk to you about two of our great sponsors. First being Ounce of Hope, ounceofhope.com. Code Bluff City gets 15% off your first order. Go check them out. The Mushroom Vitality has been helping me get through the afternoons. The roasted have been a great way to spend my Saturdays, using those instead of coffee in the morning. It's got cold brewed nitro coffee, 5 milligrams of THC and 10 milligrams of CBD. It is an awesome way to start a weekend and just feel good. It's a good mellow feeling on the back end, and it's fast acting, 15 to 30 minutes. Code Bluff City gets you 15% off at ounceofhope.com, or you can visit them in the Sanderland Center or on Cooper Street for that in-person shopping experience. On the other side of the break, we're talking college football with a reminder about a big college football show coming up.
Looking for an alternative to alcohol or conventional medicine? Check out Ounce of Hope, a Memphis-based dispensary with 2 local stores in the Sanderland Center and on South Cooper Street. You can get all the products you need in a location convenient to you. Each store offers an intentional shopping experience with dedicated bud tenders to answer all of your questions, from product selection and mushroom blends to our personal favorite, the Delta 9 seltzers. You gotta try the Peach Buzz. Try Ounce of Hope at either one of their 2 Memphis stores or at www.ounceofhope.com for convenient products shipped right to your door. Use the promo code BluffCity for 15% off any order, excluding sale items. Cannot be used in conjunction with other promotions or discounts. One use per customer.
We got more information. Crime actually was invented in downtown Memphis, man.
According to a lot of people, it feels like Memphis invented crime. Like crime never existed. Nowhere else in the world.
Nowhere else in the world is there crime but Memphis.
Is there crime, except for downtown Memphis.
Can I park my car outside my apartment? I came outside, my car was gone. And I found my car in minutes, Kenny. It was an abandoned house in South Memphis, and I got my car back, Kenny. And I have my own story to tell. My car got stolen, so I can't confirm that there actually is crime in the city.
Oh, so like the actual numbers and evidence
that
doesn't matter.
I don't care.
Your anecdotal stories of individuals that have been impacted by crime invented in downtown Memphis.
And Ken, I hate to say this, man. I love the Grizzlies. Y'all know I do, man. But let's get them away from you scoundrels out here, man. Just move them to somewhere safe, Seattle. Let's move them to Germantown Parkway.
Check out the Anthony Sane Show Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. only on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
I'm just very, very curious about offense and how that's going to look. I think you're going to have big performances from guys that you're not necessarily hanging your hat on. A Curtis Givens, Julius Thedford, Assam Abdul Hakim. Like you have to get some big offensive pop from guys that are outside of the top couple of guys, and I again, I'm not convinced.
At this point, does it feel like the roster is missing that dude? It does. Absolutely. The guy who's supposed to be that dude is in the middle of the battle of his life in court right now. Right? Like, and so yes, I think your is kind of justified. Like, I think it's warranted.
Tune into On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the $2 Sports Show. My AirPods are back in action. I was fiddling around with it during the commercial, and it was just all of a sudden, like, Anthony was just like right into my ears, and I could hear everything. And I'm like, let's go. We're back, baby. And welcome to segment number 2. Drew, before we get into football, we do have a little basketball to talk about. I didn't prep you for this. I just got it. I just saw it.
All right.
Bleacher
I can promise you this. I will have the perfect take right off the top.
Sure. Something like that. So this is why you need to stick to local sports media and local sports news, especially here on Bluff City Media. I'm a little bit biased, but I do think we have the best group in the city because Bleacher Report released an article previewing teams and who from last year players are going to be risers and fallers.
Oh,
They're
God.
calling Ty Jerome a faller. They said that there's no way he's going to be able to match his shooting clip from last year, that everything went in. He was efficient. Third place in the 6th Man of the Year voting, but regression is coming because nobody can stay as hot and because the Grizzlies have 2 players, Ja and Pip, who are firmly ahead of him. And then in the final paragraph, it says, and if Cole Anthony gets off to a good start, it'll be even harder for Ty Jerome to match last year's career best work. Drew, remind me where Cole Anthony plays basketball now. Milwaukee.
Cleveland? Oh, Milwaukee.
It ain't Memphis.
Yeah. Listen, I could buy an argument for most of what they said, but the problem with such a glaring mistake is that you then take the whole article, wad it up into a ball, and heave it towards the trash can.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So stick to your local sports, guys. We are your source for all things Memphis Grizzlies, not Bleacher Report. Shout out to the buffoons over there for giving us something to talk about. But we do have some breaking news for the SEC, Drew. The SEC on the heels of Kurt Cignetti calling out the conference, on the heels of the college football controversy, the playoff controversy that I saw last night. I finished the SEC documentary last night.
Yeah.
So I got to see all of it all the way through that final episode where Tennessee made it, Ole Miss and South Carolina and Alabama were on the outside looking in. And it was just, it was a good reminder of the changes that have now come, right? So the SEC is now committed to playing a 9-game conference football schedule. Then the commissioner did come out and say that on top of that, they're going to be expected to schedule 1 non-league power conference opponent that's of quality. So ACC, Big 12, Big 10, or Notre Dame on their schedule as well. Initial reaction to that.
I love it. I love it. I love it as a fan. Like, everybody wants to talk about best chances to win, to lose, to whatnot. You sell season tickets to fans who want to watch good football, and people pay exorbitant amount of monies for cable providers, now Peacock, now Disney Plus, now ESPN Plus, now everything else, so that you can watch your teams play football. So let's have them play football against good teams. I know it's a race to 10 wins. I still think it's a race to 10 wins. Although, if they are, the committee obviously did not rank strength of schedule very highly last year. That's how Indiana got in at 10-2 over a few SEC teams that were 9-3 or Big Ten teams, whatever teams that had a higher strength of schedule that went 9-3. They said that they were going to take it up a notch when it comes to grading strength of schedule and how much importance they place on that when it comes to putting in the final 12 teams at the end of the year into the playoff. And if that's the case, I mean, the SEC has got to be at the very top because you're going to play 9 SEC home games. You have got to play a non-conference Power 5 team or Notre Dame. And good luck. I mean, it's going to definitely be a harder schedule.
It's going to be a lot harder, which is going to help in the long run, but it's also going to hurt some teams that are on those kind of those fringe lines. So the full details are they will continue with a single standings non-divisional structure. Each school will play 3 annual opponents. So looking at that pod system again, similar like what they have right now. Each school will play 3 annual opponents focused on maintaining many traditional rivalries. Each team's remaining 6 games will rotate among the remaining conference schedule. And each team will face every other SEC program at least once every 2 years and every opponent home and away in every 4 years. So I do like that because it's going to get so many more teams to come to Starkville and to Oxford. And instead of like back in the day where we would play, like it felt like we would play South Carolina, Mississippi State would play South Carolina in like 4, 5, 6 consecutive years. And then it'd be 10 years before we played them again. And so this is going to put it in a much easier rotation where these schools will be coming through. And so you can get some more interconference rivalries and old-time rivalries coming into your stadium.
Absolutely. You know, back before they expanded and allowed Texas and Oklahoma to come in, you had East and West, SEC East and West. Of course, that was still the same this year.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't.
No, that went away.
No, they went away. But when you had East and West, you had 8 SEC games. 6 of them are, 6 SEC, 8 SEC games.
There it is.
5 of which were in your conference.
Mm-hmm.
1 Eastern Conference team was permanent. You played every year. Mississippi State played Kentucky every year, and Ole Miss played Vanderbilt every year.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so of the other 5 teams in the East, you played them once every 5 years, and once every 10 years at your place.
Mm-hmm.
This is so much better. And
so
if you look at what SEC baseball did, now football says that they're going to be 3 permanent opponents each team will have. Baseball did 2 permanent opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And for Ole Miss, it was Arkansas and Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
For Mississippi State, I believe it was
Ole Miss
and LSU. So if you build on that, add 1 team to that, I'm a big proponent of bringing back the Ole Miss and Vanderbilt rivalry.
Of course you are.
I feel like Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, everybody really missed that matchup this year.
Yeah.
And so I think Ole Miss should have Mississippi State. Ole Miss, honestly, now I'll take Vanderbilt out. What I hope, and this is not the easiest by any means, but I hope it's LSU, Ole Miss, and Arkansas.
Yeah, and for us, I think what it should be and what I'd like for it to be would be Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. Those are the 3 that kind of make the most sense because we're the mechanical schools. You got Arkansas we're kind of been peers, and then you got LSU or Ole Miss, our natural rival right here in state. I've seen several other ones. One I'm looking at now from Box Score says that Ole Miss should be Kentucky, LSU, and State. State should be Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. I mean, it just feels like you're throwing at the wall and making it stick. But I didn't see this one. So instead of doing like a 3-team pod, this one did from Cade Smith did a 4-team pod and kind of went geographical. And so I know it's hard with the 9 games, but it'd be Ole Miss, LSU, Mississippi State, and Arkansas because we're kind of in that group together.
Right.
Then you've got Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt because they're in the middle part of the SEC. You've got the western side in Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, and A&M. And then you got the East Coast being Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and then Kentucky. Because you can't have Kentucky and Vanderbilt together. That's going to be super, super lopsided. But that one, to me, if you're going to do a 4-team pod, makes sense. But it's going to make more sense to have 3 teams in your pods based on the 9-game schedule.
Yeah, I don't like the pod system as much because then you're getting back into like playing divisions. 4 teams. You're getting into divisions or subdivisions or whatever you want to call about. And the case for that is you play a different pod every year.
Right. So you would play your teams in your pod, and then you would play the East Coast pod, and then the Central pod, and then the Mississippi pod, and then the West pod.
So if there's 4 teams in a pod, that gives you 3 games a year against the common opponents in your pod. And then you've got to take in another pod, which is 4 games.
And then you still have 2 more.
You still have to get 2 more games. It gets kind of a little squirrely. I like seeing every team every other year. I love that idea. I don't want to go another decade without seeing South Carolina come to Ole Miss or Florida come to Ole Miss
or Missouri to come to town.
Right. So I love it. Listen, it's going to get saucy. There is going to be a lot of ravaging. You think the SEC cannibalizes itself now? It definitely will now. So you're really banking on the committee looking at, if we're just taking it back to last year, looking at Indiana's 10-2 record where they had no good wins versus, and to take our teams out of it, a Missouri team that went 9-3, but their 3 losses are to really good SEC teams.
Yeah.
You know,
I can see this biting the SEC in the butt because as you see here, FanDuel odds for SEC champs, the lines have moved a little bit. Alabama has moved up to plus 500 from plus 550. LSU stayed the same, but A&M and Auburn have both moved up from plus 18 to plus 1,500. Texas and Georgia remain unchanged on FanDuel Sportsbook, FanDuel.com. I think right now, like on a surface level, unless the committee, which the committee has said they're going to look at more advanced metrics, that's going to play in the SEC's favor because if not, on a surface level, Indiana and the Big Ten win because Indiana's toughest opponent in the next 10 years non-conference is the Indiana School for the Blind and Deaf. And so this is definitely going to put – and I appreciate what the SEC is doing here. They're betting on themselves. They're putting their money where their mouth is and saying we're the best conference in football. We're going to play each other 9 times, and the top teams that come out of that schedule at 9-3, 10-2, 11-1, and daggum sure at 12-0 are going to be the best teams in the country because they've proven it. Because if you look at a 9-game SEC schedule, Drew, there's a likelihood that 6 or 7 of those teams are going to be in the AP and the playoff top 25, if not the top 15. And so you're going to be tested week in and week out. And then you add in a Wisconsin or an Arizona State or a Texas Tech, Kansas State, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. Those teams are also going to be in the top 25. So you're looking at a schedule, a 12-game schedule where you could theoretically face 8 ranked teams.
Absolutely. I love it. And you got to think that, you know, because let's not mistake ourselves here. Like everybody's talking about like this is up for a vote between university presidents, all this other kind of stuff. This decision is made by television companies. I mean, 100%. ESPN is pushing this. They're driving it. And I've got to think, because this was very opposed for a long time. It seemed like it was very split, maybe 50-50, but I feel like more than likely it was like 40-60 with 60% being against it because it hurts their odds of making the playoff. Got to think that there was like some kind of wink, like we're expanding the playoff. And then they're like, okay, well now strength of schedule is going to matter even more because you're getting more teams that have not reached double-digit wins in here. What I hope that's the case. I'm a fan of 16 teams. How I would solve the out-of-conference Power 5 game is I think they should do what college basketball does, and they do the Big Ten versus the SEC week. Do a week where you take and of course,
like the number
of teams have to match up. And just like you're getting in week 1, the best team from the Big Ten versus the best team in the SEC go all the way down. And so then you would get like Penn State versus Georgia, and then you would get Indiana versus South Carolina,
Alabama.
Yeah. I would just stack them up based on the rankings from last season, and both conferences do it in 1 week.
That's what they do in college basketball, right? They have the SEC, ACC challenge, the ACC Big Ten. Like, I would love that. And this is absolutely putting their money where their mouth is and calling the bluff of the other conferences. Again, we talked about it this summer. It's been highlighted in a major way how much the Big Ten and Kurt Cignetti has called out, and SMU, Rhett Lashie, has called out the SEC for their scheduling. They said, all right, your move. They put all their cards on the table and said, we believe we're the best conference. We're going to bank on it. And so I agree. I think that the other conferences should follow suit. And then you're going to add that, have to play another conference, like whatever, have to play a premier conference team. Then let's do that. Absolutely. Let's line them up sheet by sheet, the 1 through 16, who are your best teams in order, and let's play them because you're going to get some great football games there.
Absolutely.
You can't tell me that. Again, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Georgia, Indiana, Alabama, Michigan, South Carolina wouldn't be must-watch
Missouri.
week 1 great. TV. Yeah, I mean, you can keep going all the way down. Rutgers and Vanderbilt, the 2 smart schools, are playing.
And it is also, if you've forgotten, the Big Ten also has Southern Cal and Oregon and USC.
Oh my God!
Like you could get a home and home with Southern Cal. Like, bring that back. That was taken away from us for scheduling. USC scared to play us. Bring that back. I love
Lincoln Riley would then duck and go somewhere else.
I would do this if for no other reason. Then it's just you owe it to your fans to not play for Georgia Southern, Jacksonville State,
the Citadel.
And you know what? You know who this sucks for? Honestly, Memphis is never going to play another SEC team.
Yeah.
Not if you've got 9 SEC games, one game against a power conference school. You are not going to schedule Memphis. Ever.
You're absolutely not. Memphis, Troy, Coastal,
Tulane,
Southern Miss, those schools gone.
Yeah,
gone. You're gonna have to like.
Ole Miss will never play Memphis again if they're one of the 2 games that you get.
Yeah, because
you get a tune-up for.
Because you've got 10 games that are going to be guaranteed against like top premier talent. Again, up to 10, very likely at least 6, if not 8, are going to be ranked opponents. And so then you're going to tell me that you're going to schedule, like, let's say even if you schedule like Iowa State, then you're going to also schedule Memphis and Tulane. No, you're going to schedule Iowa State. You're going to schedule Jacksonville State. Sorry, Drew. You're going to schedule South Carolina State. You're going to schedule like Tennessee Tech. State. Like you're going to schedule Arkansas State. Like you're going to schedule these little small schools that you can go just beat tune-ups and beat to a pulp to give your guys a break.
This is not an insult to Memphis as much as it is a compliment, because it's very possible that the non-conference Power 5 school that you have to play is not as good as Memphis, but you're just not going to schedule Memphis. It's just not going to happen.
It's nothing against Memphis. This is, like you said, this is because Memphis is a good team, and it's just you're not going to want to add another good team on top of 10 good teams that you're going to be playing every year.
That's just math.
And that's just smart. Like you got to have a break in there somewhere. Like you imagine scheduling an SEC schedule with 6, say, ranked teams. Then you have to go to the shoe and play in Columbus, Ohio. Then you have to come back and you have to play Memphis and Tulane and Troy. 3 teams that are going to go punch you in the mouth and have a chance to beat you. Absolutely not. You're going to get some guaranteed buffer wins in there so that you can survive the rest of your schedule.
You've only got 2 opportunities now to schedule a cupcake.
Yeah, and you're going to take full advantage of it while you can. So, Drew, with that, speaking of the schedule, I thought this was an interesting little exercise that we're going to look at here. Let's see. Let's go with this one first. So this is showing – I'm going to turn the comments off. Sorry, guys. This is showing the amount of wins that each school needs to be considered in the at-large discussion. So this kind of plays right into our conversation we were just having. And so these are the thresholds. Like if you – so in the very top one, if Arkansas, Florida, Mississippi State, or Vanderbilt, based on the schedule that they have, win 8 games, then they're going to be in the conversation for an at-large bid. Now, obviously, those schools are going to need more than that. This is showing just the minimum threshold that you need in order to be considered an at-large and bid for the college football playoff.
Okay. Well, how do you want to take a bite off this apple? You want to start at the top, start at the bottom? You want to pick out some teams?
Let's pick out some teams because there's a lot on here. I mean, you can talk about, obviously, like we can talk. Let's do this. The 12-win bracket down there is all of your group of 5. Like you're going to have to run your schedule. You're going to have to be 12-0. You're going to have to be the best by head and shoulders above the rest of group of 5. So the teams in that bracket, to me, that have the most legit chance is Boise State, obviously, because they are year in and year out. Memphis, because they are year in and year out. I throw Coastal Carolina in there because they're usually one of those teams that are very scrappy and can win you like 9, 10, 11 games. In years past, they've been good. Outside of that, I mean, like it's going to be tough for any of the other schools to convince me that they are the best group of 5. Maybe Tulane, and I'll throw Texas State in there just because they're a fun story and they do win a lot of football games.
Yeah, so this is a direct reflection of strength of schedule, obviously. The minimum, I have a problem with anybody saying that any team that only wins 8 games gets in the playoff. I don't think that there's any way that an 8-4 team, even in the SEC, and all 4 of those teams are in the SEC. And the reason why I wanted you to start it is because I didn't want you to think I was picking on Mississippi State. I don't think any team at 8-4 gets in the playoff. No, I don't really care what your 4 wins are. Like, and State and these four teams have awful schedules. And 8-4 should be highly applauded, and Jeff Lebby should probably win Coach of the Year. It does not mean you get a 12-team playoff, though.
And so what this is that this is the amount of wins that you have to enter in the conversation. State's going to need 10 wins to get in. If you go 10-2 with the schedule that we have, then by God, we better be in the 12-team playoff.
Absolutely.
But 8 is just to get in the conversation based solely on strength of schedule. Because in an 8-win season for Mississippi State, you're going to have a win over one or more of Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, like some Arizona State. Like there's going to be some ranked teams that you have ran through in order to get to 8 wins. And then at a slightly less tick, you got your 9-win teams being like South Carolina, A&M, LSU, and Alabama, whose schedule is still going to be brutal, but not to the level that is. Because if you look at the top one, Arkansas, Florida, and Mississippi State, those are your top 3 hardest schedules in the country, no matter what source you look at. They kind of jockey, if it's ESPN or Sports Illustrated, who the top 3, what order it is. But those are the top 3 in every single list.
Okay. Let's put it to you this way. All right. At 8-4, if State was to get in or enter the conversation at 8-4, I've got the whole schedule in front of me here. What 4 teams, because you're going to have at least one of them be a huge upset. Let's say that your biggest you make your biggest upset of the year. That would be Texas. Mississippi State plays Texas in Starkville. Say on October 25th, Mississippi State beats Texas. They get 4 losses. Their next 4 highest ranked teams, say they lose against them. That would be probably
Arizona
Tennessee, State, Georgia, Ole Miss, and
Arizona State.
Texas A&M or Florida.
Arizona State. We play them early in the year.
Yeah, they're not going to be ranked that. Okay, Arizona State. That still means you've got your wins are Southern, Alcorn State, Northern Illinois, Tennessee, A&M. Northern Illinois, A&M, Florida, and Missouri, and Arkansas. That's not like you outside of Texas. Texas, that matters. The other wins are not headlining. You've got 4 nothings, I guess is what I'm saying.
And what I'm like, I think the point of this graphic is not that this is a lock to get in, but this is the threshold to enter the conversation as an at-large, like one of the best of the rest.
And I truly believe with 12 teams, unless there's somebody that has multiple upsets, that a 9-win team doesn't get in. Unless there's, I mean, there could be a conference like the Big Ten is just down and they only get 1 bid, or the ACC only gets 1 bid. That's the only exception I'll make.
Yeah,
I think you got to get to 10. I think that's why you see 10 being all of the quote unquote highly ranked teams going into the season. You got to get to 10 more times than not. And if you're a group of 5 team, you got to go undefeated or 11-1 with help.
Yep. Exactly. And speaking of that parlays really well into our next conversation where we're looking at teams and the mulligans or amount of upsets that they need in order to be in the conversation for the at-large discussion. Again, this is not like, obviously if you win your conference, you're in, you get a home game, you get a bye, like you're in. That's what you do, right? But based on this chart, and I think it's interesting, and I've got some FanDuel odds that we'll look at after this. But there are 8 teams that have available mulligans, and it's the ones you would expect: Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson, Penn State, Oregon have earned that right. They're some of the best teams in the country. They have tougher schedules. Some of them do. Maybe not Clemson looking at you or Notre Dame, but you have some grace because of where you are in ranking and prestige and history, whatever you want to call it. But then starting at 0, that means you have no wiggle room. Like you have no wiggle room. If you're going to be in the at-large discussion, you don't get any mulligans. You've got to win the games you're supposed to win. I don't think this means that you have to go undefeated to be in the at-large. But I think you have to win the games you're supposed to win, get an upset, and then your losses be like the best teams that you play all year being a close loss.
And you look at Alabama last year. They got a mulligan with Vanderbilt. They earned a mulligan. They were able to survive despite losing to Vanderbilt. But then they lost to Oklahoma, and they did not have a schedule good enough to afford 2 mulligans.
Nope.
They're saying this year, Alabama, with the non-conference games of Florida State and Wisconsin, to be able to have enough 2 mulligans this year.
Hey, Pauls, real quick, we do have some breaking news in the NFL that I want to drop because I'm sure some people are hopping in the comments to see if we're talking about it. The Commanders are trading Brian Robinson, running back, to the San Francisco 49ers for a 2026 sixth-round pick. We're going to get to running backs in a few minutes at the end of the show, but this is huge for fans of the hyphenated McCaskill Jones, the running back. He goes by Bill. Like, this is huge. What's his name?
Bill McCoskey, something.
So huge fans for his. He's a rookie. Has been shooting up fantasy draft boards. He's been shooting up the depth chart. And this tells me that they're going to go all in on him by moving Brian Robinson to the 49ers.
And also some Christian McCaffrey insurance.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
All right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that some more. Okay. This is interesting. Again, this is a strength of schedule play. Ole Miss doesn't have a daunting schedule by SEC terms, although you do have a non-conference matchup against Tulane, and Washington State. Sure, on conference, it's not necessarily 4 directional schools in Louisiana, but this is interesting. I would like to take some time to dive into this. You talk for a minute.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing here is you've got teams that have tougher schedules. But teams that are a bit lower down are going to have some upsets. So you look down there at Mississippi State, it's going to take 5 upsets, which, again, are possible because you've got games against Arizona State, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, say Florida. Everybody's trending on Florida, or Ole Miss. If you upset those 5 schools, then you're very likely finishing the season with 9 or 10 wins, because if you're upsetting those schools, you're very likely beating the other schools, and you should be very in the thick of the conversation. That's going to take a miracle for Jared and his Razorbacks. It's only 4. They're looking at 4 upsets based on strength of schedule, posturing, and where they are. And so this is it's interesting how the strength of schedule kind of plays into this, but also it takes into account kind of where you finished last year, what your predictions are, your win totals, all of that. And so Mississippi State needing 5 feels about right, because again, those 5 are going to be top 15 programs, because all 5 of those schools, Ole Miss being a top 20 team in the AP poll, 21st, you've got 5 teams in the top 25, 4 of which are in the top 15. If you upset those, then you go ahead and start booking hotel rooms.
Yeah. So this is also looking at a lot of advanced lines too, looking at futures and win totals. If you look at the teams, if you start at the teams at 0, that implies if they go chalk up when looking at wins and losses, future lines, that they should be in the playoff. Lower seeds maybe, but in the playoff. And there's no wiggle room at all. You got to go chalk. Ole Miss has got to go chalk. A&M, Miami, Southern Cal, Baylor, Kansas State, and Iowa State, which is funny because they play each other in Ireland tomorrow. Kansas State and Ohio State, and Iowa State, with Kansas State being a slight favorite. And then as you go down, you're looking at LSU and Tennessee. That's interesting to me because only needing 1 upset away. I feel like LSU should probably be on the same line as Ole Miss, because I think LSU's a little better, but maybe their schedule's a little harder. And Tennessee, Joey Aguilar is going to have to show me something, I think.
Agreed.
I think I would move them down a line maybe.
I don't know that they're just that much better than South Carolina. I think that South Carolina, based on how they finished their season last year, the bowl game notwithstanding, 6-game winning streak, the longest for them since 2013, I think they have a little bit more wiggle room on their schedule than Tennessee does with an unproven quarterback who's new to SEC. I'm not real sure about that one.
Yeah. So,
but this is going to lead. I do want to talk about.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I was going to transition to our FanDuel odds. So go ahead. What else you got?
Okay, I was just going to say, and you look at Memphis. I don't have their schedule in front of me. They're saying they're 1 upset away from being in the at-large discussion. I think that's fair when it comes to breaking in a new quarterback in a conference that you've got to win. You've got to be the best team in the conference or in all non-Power 5 conferences to get there. So I think it's fair.
So I guess their upset would have to be Arkansas, because unless Navy was really good last year. Navy's a kind of 1 tier below Memphis on this chart.
Do they have Tulane?
They do. They have Tulane at home Friday, November the 7th. So maybe one of those 3, I guess. Only just because Arkansas being an SEC school, not that they're necessarily going to be good.
Yeah, so they've
Yeah.
got Tulane needing 2 upsets to
Mhm.
enter the playoff discussion.
Yeah. So it's an interesting conversation, Drew, and it got me thinking about we looked at it again. This is not saying that these teams have to go undefeated, but what I'm saying is FanDuel, we looked at this a couple of weeks ago, like the undefeated odds, and these are the odds for those teams that were on that 0 tier that had no wiggle room, no mulligans, but not necessarily any upsets needed. This is their odds to go undefeated this year. And so the teams that they feel like are most likely to go undefeated from that tier being the Miami Hurricanes at plus 950, Kansas State at plus 1,400, followed by Ole Miss at plus 22, USC and Baylor plus 3,000, A&M, and then Iowa State.
Yeah, Ole Miss is not going undefeated.
Of these schools, which one do you think is the most likely to go undefeated and the least likely to go undefeated?
Without looking at their schedule, I guess Miami, because I don't know how many games they're going to play against ranked opponents. Miami, they don't play every school in the ACC every year. So if they have a schedule that somehow dodges one or both of Florida State and Clemson.
Right now, they play 3 ranked teams. And I've got their schedules pulled up here on FB schedules. Okay. So Notre Dame, number 6, they play Florida 15th. They do play Florida State at Doak Campbell. And the only other ranked team is they play at SMU on Saturday the 1st. Right now, that's their only ranked opponents. Notre Dame, Bethune Cookman, and USF are their non-conference opponents.
Yeah, I think that's more reasonable than Ole Miss going undefeated. I'll tell you that. So
I think Miami, to me, is kind of the obvious one here. That's why FanDuel has them at plus 950. I'm looking at Baylor because the Big 12, I don't know that the Big 12 is going to be quite as good as it was last year.
There will be a team that's good, I'm sure. Don't know who.
Yeah, and so their schedule is pretty. They start with Auburn at home, then they play at SMU. The other ranked team, their ranked teams being SMU, Arizona State, and Kansas State, both at home, and then no other ranked teams throughout the rest of the year.
That's a pretty good schedule too.
So I'll say those.
I just don't buy Dave Aranda. I
don't
buy Dave Aranda. I don't buy Baylor. Yeah.
I mean, but I don't buy the Big 12 either. And so somebody's got to run the table in the Big 12. Maybe it's them. Maybe it's Kansas State, who opens the season again with Iowa State in Dublin. Oh, it might be Kansas State. The only ranked teams that they play this year being the Texas Tech Red Raiders at 23 on November the 1st. Otherwise, they
who's
play
that? Iowa State?
This is Kansas State.
Kansas State. Well, they play Iowa State week 1. Yeah.
So I guess it's 2 ranked teams here. Iowa State and Texas Tech being their only 2 ranked teams. Their non-conference being North Dakota and Army. And then the rest, Big 12 games, they get Colorado at home. They play at Utah, which is a funny place to go try and play. But Kansas State might be the other one that I would consider.
Yeah. Neat. I like that.
Yeah. So we've got college football covered for you. Reminder, we've got a college football game day show starting next Saturday, August 30th. It's going to be at 1:30 at Grind City Brewing. Can't wait to hang out with y'all there. But in the meantime, Drew, we have a big event tomorrow. So this will kind of be our final segment / weekend outlook as we talk about some fantasy football.
Definitely the best music we got.
It is, man. It's a bop. And much like we did with Kenny last week, I did with Kenny last Friday, we're talking NFL fantasy football running backs today. And I've got them into 4 tiers for Drew and I to argue about who belongs in what tier. Running backs can make or break a fantasy team, especially if you can get a dual threat running back. To me, Drew, there's not many guys. There's only maybe 1 or 2 that could be made for an argument. There's an argument that could be made for them to be taken first overall, but it's going to have to be a strong argument. Again, we just talked about Brian Robinson. I think that's going to change a little bit for what I had for CMC because, yes, he's insurance, but he's also a handcuff that could be poaching some touchdowns and taking some handoffs away from Christian McCaffrey, Drew. But let's talk about it like this. So I've got 4 tiers for you. All right. Your top tier being your elite running backs. And I'm using ESPN's fantasy football, the PPR league rankings for some of this. Okay. All right. So my elite running backs coming in this year are going to be Bijan Robinson, obviously from Atlanta, dual threat. Jahmyr Gibbs from Detroit, Saquon, and I've got CMC on here. I don't know that like Brian Robinson's enough to bump him down a tier, but those are my 4 elite running backs that you need on your team.
Yeah, I think I can't argue with any of those. Honestly, listen, I've been bit by the CMC bug, Christian McCaffrey, so many times. I feel like I've drafted Christian McCaffrey 5 times in the 10 years that I've played fantasy football. Half the time he's great and I win a championship. Half the time he doesn't play. And I just keep finding myself wanting to go back to the well, if I'm being honest with you. I've still not learned my lesson, because the truth of Christian McCaffrey is, and the truth of a first-round pick is he's got to be amazing. He's just got to be amazing, especially if you're taking him at the position in which you're going to be taking Christian McCaffrey. I think that Christian McCaffrey could be the absolute steal of the draft if he falls to the second round, because you know what he is. He's a workhorse. He catches a lot of passes. He scores a lot of touchdowns, and he's in a great offense. All you need him to do, much like John Morant, all you need him to do is stay healthy. And if you can make that bet and it pay off, this is why I always end up taking him. If you make that bet and he pays off, he's a league winner.
Yeah, that's it. And with that, I do got some FanDuel odds that were kind of a tasty little FanDuel treat based on my elite running backs before we get back to ranking the rest of them. Drew, I thought these were a couple fun ones. So combining some of these, so right now on FanDuel for some of their futures, you can combine Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson to combine for 2,500 or more rushing yards at plus 170. I really like that one because both those guys are poised for big years. They're in good offenses that could play into that. And if you're feeling really froggy, talking about CMC as Drew just was, Jahmyr Gibbs and Christian McCaffrey to each record 1,000 yards rushing and 10 rushing touchdowns. That one makes me a bit more nervous. I do like plus 550, but 2 things. Well, it was one before the start of the show. One, for me, I was going to say David Montgomery is a touchdown vulture for Jahmyr Gibbs, and he is their goal line back. And now Christian McCaffrey has a touchdown vulture in Brian Robinson, who is also a great red zone and goal line back.
I don't know how much there's no real equity being swapped in that Brian Robinson trade. It was only a 6th-round pick. 6th-round picks mean a lot to NFL teams, but that's not capital that you would think equates guaranteed touches for Brian Robinson Jr. I don't really care about that as much. I do care about the David Montgomery, but honestly, if last season taught us anything, and I know there's a new offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson is now the head coach for the Chicago Bears. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs both ate last year and ate up.
They did.
Like, if I had both of them, and I never thought this would ever be the case, if I had both of them, I would have started both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But if you're feeling saucy, there are some FanDuel odds for you if you want to play a little bit on some futures. But back to our rankings of our running back. We got our tier 1. Tier 2 being the ones that are kind of fringe on that. For me, are Devon Achane, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and Alvin Kamara. I know that the Saints offense is going to be down, but he is still an elite speed. Get him in space. He can make people miss. I don't know that he's in that tier 1 anymore, but tier 2 for me, Alvin Kamara. A name that keeps popping up that I want to bring up here, Drew. I don't know that I trust a rookie running back to be in one of these top 2 tiers yet, but Ashton Genty is the 11th overall ranked fantasy football player going in the in the first round, early in the first round in most drafts. I don't know that I necessarily buy that yet. What are your thoughts on Genty here?
I would put him in tier 2, for sure. I'd have him above Devon Achane. I would have him above Alvin Kamara. I would have him above basically all of those except for maybe Derrick Henry. If you think about Ashton Genty, he's a workhorse back. He is physical. He is fast. He's everything you want in a running back. Running backs do not take long to develop into fantasy football winners. They just don't. Sure. I drafted Kareem Hunt really early his rookie year, and he was amazing. I won the league. It doesn't take long. And you think about who the coach is for the Las Vegas Raiders. Do you remember who the coach is for the Las Vegas Raiders?
One Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll. who, if you had a Pete Carroll running back, he was
Mhm.
always good in fantasy football. Marshawn Lynch was good. There are guys that I don't even remember had great seasons as the
Sure.
running back for
That's fair.
the Seattle Seahawks. I would take Ashton Jeanty before Alvin Kamara, before Devon Achane, and I don't even remember who the other ones were, but I'll take him over.
Taylor.
I'd take him over Jonathan Taylor.
There you go. Well, he is the highlight of my third tier, and this is where I start getting in some rookie running backs because there's some other tasty rookie running backs out there. So this is where I've got Ashton Jeanty, I've got Bucky Irving, I've got Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams from out in LA. I've got Omarion Hampton. I think he's going to be really good for the Chargers because another NFL coach who has good fantasy running backs, Jim Harbaugh. And so Omarion Hampton's big for me there. I like RJ Harvey as well in Denver. He's had a phenomenal preseason, has been shooting up the rankings. I do like they've got him currently at the 25th running back spot. I think there's some real value there in RJ Harvey.
The only thing that makes me nervous, the big name for me, the one that moves in, because I'm looking at league winners. Like it takes a lot to be a league winner, and that's typically somebody that you take a flyer on late. And I don't know that any running back in your tier 3 is somebody that's necessarily going to go late in the draft. But Omarion Hampton is a gamble for me because if you look at what Jim Harbaugh did last season for the Chargers, who was the running back that came out of nowhere? Like there was a particular running back, and I'm blanking on who it was, but basically played his whole career. He thought his legs were dead, and then he came back last season and had a really good year.
It wasn't Eckler because
No,
he was
he's
gone.
at Washington.
Was Najee there last year? No, Najee was at Pittsburgh last year.
But you're making my point. Najee Harris would scare me as a revitalization kind of hard-nosed back. Najee is extremely limited. He's not very nimble. But dang it, that's driving me crazy. I can't remember who that.
Well, you look it up while I keep talking. Yes, Kyron Williams falling to the third tier, Jared. I don't know. I'm not super high on a lot of Rams players right now. I just don't know what they've got out there. There was an overhaul of the offensive line. Again, Matt Stafford has a bad back, so maybe that's a pro for Kyron Williams. I just think he's going really high and thinking about in terms, like Drew said, of value. I don't know that the value is quite there for Kyron Williams to be going 12th overall or the 12th running back, shooting for around 32nd overall. I think there's better value in that area. Which leads me to my tier 4, kind of some of those value guys.
Who I was thinking of was J.K. Dobbins.
Oh,
J.K. Dobbins, who had multiple knee surgeries. Really, it seemed like he hit his peak last year for Jim Harbaugh.
Yep. And so these are the guys that I think you can get late that can be sleepers / league winners like Drew was talking about. These are guys that I would be targeting in later rounds to help you win. So for me, that is TreVeyon Henderson from the New England Patriots, another rookie. He was great at Ohio State. I think he's a guy you can take a flyer on to be a winner. David Montgomery, as Drew talked about earlier, I think you can start both him and Jahmyr Gibbs if you have them both as handcuffs for each other. I think they're going to be great together. A couple other names to be looking for. I think Aaron Jones is going to get a lot of touches in Minnesota. I don't know that he's going to be great like he used to be in Green Bay, but he's going to get a lot of touches. And then James Cook is another one. He's a bit higher, but I think there's some value for James Cook. And a lot of people are high on Chase Brown in Cincinnati. I just think Cincinnati's going to be behind in so many games that he's not going to be getting as many touches because they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. So I don't love his value as high as it is, but if you can get him late, he might be a guy that can help. But for my tier, it is David Montgomery, TreVeyon Henderson, James Cook, and Aaron Jones being your tier 4 value guys.
If you think Cincinnati is going to be a lot behind in a lot of games, you want Chase Brown. He catches the ball very well out of the backfield. And especially if you don't trust the offensive line, he's going to catch a bunch of dump offs. That's the thing with Chase Brown. To me, in that tier, who I like is James Cook. You follow the money when it comes to touches a lot of times in the NFL. He just got a 3-year, $36 million deal for Buffalo.
Which caused Adam Schefter to draft him the very next day.
Right. You follow the money. Money and touches correlate very well, especially at the running back position. So I like James Cook a lot there. I like Kyron Williams. I didn't comment on him much. And, for late round guys that I'm looking at as well when it comes to, possible guys that could, win you a league. Listen, I have a hard time not thinking harder about Austin Eckler now that Brian Thomas is gone. Not Brian Thomas, Brian Robinson.
Jr.
And you're talking about just catching the ball. A veteran coach, a veteran player that you can trust. I think that pairs well together.
And the guy I was talking about earlier is Bill Krosky Merritt, is the guy that's shooting up draft boards.
Bill Krosky. Yeah,
Bill
I thought he
Krosky.
was in prison.
His name's Jacory, but he prefers Bill. Bill Krosky.
I would not prefer Bill if one of my last names was Krosky. Okay, it sounds like somebody that you'd need to put a lid on your drink around.
Too many slip ups available there. I don't love that.
That's my take on running backs there. I can't wait. I can't wait. That's what we're looking forward to this weekend.
To say, for the weekend outlook, what are we looking for, Drew?
We'll start there since we're on our fantasy football talk. The League of Avengers in person live fantasy football draft is tomorrow night at my childhood home. It's a central location. We're going to go to Mom's house. We're going to draft. We're going to eat a lot of pizza. We're going to draft offline. We are going to be short a couple people. We're trying to figure that one out. Some circumstances that could not be avoided. So no hard feelings this time. But it's the best night of the year. It's our Super Bowl. It's our Super Bowl is our League of Avengers in-person offline draft. I can't look forward to it anymore. And I've also got a new gig coming up starting tonight that I'm excited about. And I'm going to be calling some high school football around here, local area here on Friday nights. Get underneath the lights of Friday night, Mississippi. It'll be special. We're going to do the TV broadcast, and I'm going to help call. So if you ever want to, watch some Ripley High School football or anybody in Tippah County, holler at me, get on YouTube and come find me. It'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to hear Drew Collins again. Super stoked about that for you, man. He told me the other day, and he was about as giddy as he could have been telling me about it. So I'm stoked that you get that opportunity, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you, buddy. Super looking forward to the League of Avengers draft tomorrow night. I'm going to be bringing over some pizzas, and we're going to be hanging out. And I think, like you said, all but a couple are going to be there. It's always a fun time of just buffoonery and, crap talking and, ooh, that's a good pick, and letting people know when it's a bad pick. Even when somebody takes Saquon in the first round, it ends up being a great pick. But looking forward to that tomorrow night, and then seeing Mama Lee on Sunday for her birthday. Super stoked about that.
Yeah, I need to go see Mama Lee on Sunday too. So.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Mama Lee.
We're gonna be eating at my Aunt Kim's house, so come by and holler at Mama Lee. But that's gonna do it for your Friday edition of the $2 Sports Show. I am your co-host Rusty Buckets. We are here live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central, right here on YouTube. Super excited to hang out with y'all. Thanks to everybody who are in the comments for being here with us today. Go be a friend to somebody who needs a friend. And Drew, in the meantime, there are no refunds for what you heard today.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for, and we will see you here again on Monday. Have a good weekend.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We'll see you back here next time.